Caitlin Clark and Nike together feel less like a business deal and more like watching a new kind of sports royalty being crowned in real time. If you follow her at all, you can already see it. Every time she walks into a Nike space, she doesn't look like a guest. She looks like she belongs there. And the latest moment from Nike's world headquarters, where she casually put an entire building's workday on the line for a single shot, just proves how natural that relationship has become. Right now, there are very few partnerships in sports that feel as powerful, as inevitable, and as marketable as Caitlin Clark and Nike. She's the face of a new wave in women's basketball, and Nike is, well, Nike, the global giant that knows how to turn great athletes into cultural icons. Put those two together, and you get exactly what we're seeing: hype, anticipation, and a fan base that's already treating her like she's on the same tier as some of the biggest names to ever wear the swoosh. Clark signed with Nike back in 2022, and that move felt like a clear signal of where both sides wanted to go. She was still in college at the time, but her potential was obvious. Now she's with the Indiana Fever, one of the brightest young stars in the WNBA, and the partnership has only grown stronger. This isn't a logo on a shoe type of deal. Nike clearly sees her as a central figure for their next era, and she's leaning all the way into that role. One of the biggest milestones in any athlete's career with a major brand is getting a signature sneaker, and Caitlin Clark is right on that path. Her debut Nike shoe is scheduled to drop in spring 2026, and that alone puts her in rare air. Not every star gets a true signature line with their name and input all over it. That level of investment means Nike doesn't just believe she's good on the court, they believe she can move culture, move product, and shift the conversation in women's sports. What makes this even more exciting is how involved Clark has been in the design process. She hasn't just signed off on a few mock-ups and called it a day. She's taken an active role in building this shoe from the ground up. The focus, from everything we know so far, has been on marrying performance and personality. She's zeroed in on new technology, cushioning that actually responds to her game, and little touches that reflect who she is as a player and as a person. The idea is that when you put this sneaker on, it should feel like it was made for Clark's style: deep threes, quick shifts, non-stop movement, but it should also feel like something any hooper or fan can connect to. Even without an official first look at the design, the anticipation is real. That's the wild part. People don't even know what the shoe looks like yet, and they're already talking about colorways, resale prices, and how hard it's going to be to get a pair on release day. That energy got turned up even more when Clark showed up at Nike's world headquarters recently, and her visit turned into one of those moments that tell you everything about how big this partnership already is. Anyone who's been to or seen clips from Nike's campus knows it's not a regular office. It's like a sports palace. Buildings named after legends, courts and gyms everywhere, employees who eat, sleep, and breathe the brand. When Caitlin Clark walked in, she wasn't treated like some rising newcomer looking for approval. She was welcomed like a centerpiece of where Nike is heading. Employees noticed, fans noticed, and the way everyone reacted around her made it clear she's already being positioned as a foundational athlete for the future. While she was there, surrounded by Nike staff and the usual buzz that follows her now, Clark spotted something that instantly grabbed her attention: a hoop. Not a regulation, perfect setup court, but a basket placed at a tricky angle and distance near a staircase, the kind of thing that looks almost like it was made for trick shots and office bragging rights. For most people, that's a fun background detail. For Caitlin Clark, that's a challenge. With people gathered around and phones coming out to record, she did what natural competitors do. She upped the stakes. From the stairs, looking at this small, distant hoop, she threw out a bet that got everyone locked in immediately. If she hit the shot, everyone there would get the rest of the day off. Simple, bold, and exactly the kind of thing that turns a casual moment into something people remember. You could feel the energy in the room just through the descriptions. Employees suddenly had more than just a cool cameo from a star player. They had something actually riding on the next few seconds. One made shot from an impossible angle, and they're out of work early. One miss, and it's back to emails and meetings. It was playful, of course, not some binding contract, but you know everyone there was secretly praying that ball dropped through the net. Her first attempt looked exactly like something you'd see from a shooter who's done this a million times in games, but knows this is a weird angle. It wasn't all out, it felt like a rangefinder, a way to judge distance and feel the release from that awkward spot. The ball went up, and you could almost hear the room inhale. It missed, but it gave her and everyone watching a sense of how close this could get. Then came the second try. By this point, the suspense had built up. She'd adjusted, locked in, and you know every Nike employee in that space was basically chanting in their head, "Please go in." The shot went up again, looking cleaner, more dialed in, and it came very close, close enough to make people think it might actually be happening. But in the end, it still didn't drop. No sudden early weekend, no mass exodus from the building. The shot missed, and the day off stayed a fantasy. What stood out wasn't the miss, though. It was how she carried herself in that moment. She didn't look embarrassed. She didn't overdo it trying to act like it didn't matter. She laughed it off, stayed engaged, and let everyone enjoy that even in something this small and spontaneous, she trusted herself enough to make that kind of bet. It was casual, but it was also very on brand for her. Competitive, fun, and confident, even when the stakes are just symbolic. That tiny scene sums up so much of why her partnership with Nike feels so natural. She looks completely at ease in their spaces. She's not stiff or overly media trained in those interactions. There's a comfort there, like she's already part of the furniture, part of the company's DNA. And Nike loves athletes who can do that, who can switch from laser-focused competitor on the court to charismatic, relatable personality off it without missing a beat. Now, where Caitlin Clark absolutely does not plan on missing is with her upcoming sneakers. If the hallway hoop didn't cooperate, the market definitely will. Everything about her trajectory says that the moment her debut Nike shoe hits shelves in spring 2026, it's going to be an event. Not just a normal release where people casually stroll in and pick up a pair, but the kind of launch where fans are checking apps, lining up and hoping you don't get stuck with sold-out screens. The bet at headquarters actually gave us a glimpse into why those shoes are going to resonate. It showed how she approaches everything, with a mix of joy and edge. She doesn't take herself too seriously, but she takes the moment seriously enough to go all in. That's exactly the mentality that drives people to connect with an athlete beyond what they do in a box score. When you wear a signature shoe, you want to feel some of that mindset, some of that swagger. And you have to remember the bigger context here. Women's basketball is in a very different place now than it was even a few years ago. Interest is up, viewership is up, conversations around WNBA players and college stars are louder and more consistent. There's a real hunger for products, shoes, and apparel that reflect that shift. We've already seen fans embrace women's basketball jerseys and player-specific merch in a way that used to be reserved almost entirely for the men's game. Caitlin Clark's signature line is arriving right in the middle of that wave. Being part of the Nike family means she's walking in a path paved by legends. Think about how people reacted when LeBron James, Kevin Durant, or Giannis Antetokounmpo got their first signature sneakers. For a lot of fans, those shoes weren't just gear, they were statements. For young girls and boys who love the game, Clark's shoe is poised to play a similar role. Kids are going to be lacing up a pair that comes from a WNBA star and seeing that as completely normal, maybe even aspirational. Behind the scenes, a signature shoe is a long, detailed process. Nike doesn't just slap a name on a generic design and ship it. They've been working with Caitlin Clark for a while now to understand exactly what she needs. Her style isn't just about volume scoring, it's about range, movement, balance, and being incredibly hard to guard from anywhere on the floor. That means the sneaker needs to support quick pull-ups from deep, sudden stops, and creative finishes at the rim. So when she talks about technology and comfort being a priority, that tracks perfectly with how she plays. Then there's the personality aspect. Every great signature sneaker has those little touches that tell you who the shoe belongs to, even without reading the box. Maybe it's the logo, maybe it's a phrase on the insole, maybe it's colors tied to moments in her career or important parts of her life. Clark has made it clear that she wants those distinct details in her debut pair, things that reflect her journey, her love for the game, and the way she sees herself on and off the court. What makes all of this even more compelling is the mystery. Most fans still haven't seen the shoe. There's no official reveal yet. That vacuum creates its own kind of energy. People are making fan-made mock-ups, predicting colorways that match Indiana Fever colors or her college legacy, debating whether the first drop will be more performance-focused or have a strong lifestyle version too. All of that speculation just builds the anticipation higher. Nike employees clearly feel that same sense of being on the edge of something big. When you see how they reacted to having her on campus, to that playful shot attempt and the casual way she bet them a day off, you can tell they know this isn't just another athlete swinging by. They're part of the rollout of a star whose influence is only going to grow. The headquarters moment wasn't just fun, it was symbolic of how tightly woven she already is into the internal culture there. In the end, that missed shot at the tiny hoop might be one of the best metaphors we've seen yet for Caitlin Clark's rise. Even when the ball doesn't drop, everyone watching walks away more impressed, more entertained, and more convinced that the next attempt, in this case her first signature Nike shoe, her next season, her expanding brand, is going to be worth the wait. The countdown to spring 2026 is already on, whether Nike has started the official marketing campaign or not. Fans are mentally budgeting for that release, collectors are planning, young hoopers are imagining themselves hitting deep threes in a pair with her name on the heel. And Nike, clearly, is positioning Caitlin Clark not just as another athlete on the roster, but as a pillar of what's coming next. So, now the question shifts from, will her shoes be a success, to how big will this actually get? Will her first Nike sneaker sell out instantly? Will it become a staple on courts and in streetwear? And how many more moments like that Nike headquarters bet are we going to see as she continues to grow into this role as basketball royalty in a swoosh crown? Let me know what you think. Would you line up for Caitlin Clark's first signature Nike shoe? What would you want to see in the design? Colors, details, tech? And how big do you think this partnership can become for women's basketball and for the sneaker world as a whole?